Good morning, everyone. I'm excited about today's video. This is something I've wanted to do for years, actually. I'm in Colorado. I'm partway through a roughly 2-week-long trip, mostly through Colorado, but also with some excursions to neighboring states. And I have about 25 minutes to kill before I can start driving up the road behind me. The road in question is the road to the top of Mount Evans. Mount Evans is the, I think, 14th highest mountain in Colorado. It's 14,000 something feet in elevation, and there is a paved road that goes all the way to the top. It is the highest paved road in America. I think North America, but definitely in the United States, possibly beyond that. Starting this year, starting in 2021, there's now a reservation system for the road that goes up Mount Evans. I didn't realize that until about an hour ago. And luckily there were still some reservations left, still some permits left, so I was able to buy one of those through the app. It was, I think, $12 all told. There's a little entrance booth at the start of the road, just a little bit up the road from where I am now, and someone will get there at 8 o'clock, and I need to wait until then because I need to get a printed version of my reservation so I can stick it on my windshield. There is one issue that I'll be encountering higher up on the mountain, and I'll talk about that later. But for now, while I have a little bit of extra time, let me show you my setup in the Yukon for this trip. On the front passenger seat area, I have my hiking backpack. Below that are some water jugs. That's where my main water supply is. And I just have some camera gear, some filming stuff over here, and then the trash bag. Opening up the rear driver's side door, you can see right away the fridge here, spray bottle here. This is my toiletry bag right here. You can access the fridge by doing this. And then on the other side, I have my Jackery portable power station and my bins of food. And then opening up the back, got a couple mattresses here, got my sleeping bag, a couple pillows. I sleep with my head at that end. I've just laid the pillows out here to get them out of the way for when I try to access the fridge. Got a little fan here, and I'll show this in a future video or in a separate video, but this sticks into this right here, and I can hang the fan up on that thing to blow cool air in me when I'm onto me when I'm sleeping at night, and the rear window here opens up to provide that fresh air. Opening up this side of the platform shows a couple separated compartments, I guess you could say, and just got random stuff in there. The other side, similar kind of thing. Doesn't look especially tidy right now, because it's not. Overall, setup is working really well on this trip so far. I've spent 2 nights in it on this trip. I like having all the space, loads of space in here. It's been a good setup for me on this trip so far.
Just stick this to your windshield boot side out and you're good to go.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks.
And away we go. Speed limit 30 miles an hour. It's a 14 or 15 mile drive to the top of the mountain here. Okay, first stop here is Mount Goliath Natural Area. Don't know anything about this spot. I just saw it on the map and it seemed like a convenient spot to pull over. It's just a couple miles up the road from the entrance area. Fantastic views here though. There's a little building of some sort over here. Let's go investigate. So the signs over there at the building talk about how this is alpine tundra. You can see these tufts of turf behind me here, and the sign talks about how driving from the plains of Colorado, like east of Denver, to the top of Mount Evans is the equivalent of driving about 2,000 miles north to the Arctic Circle as far as vegetation goes. So we are in or at least we're getting to an alpine tundra environment here. Elevation here is about 11,500 feet, and that's about what the tree line is. Like, there's some trees behind me here, but pretty soon we're going to be fully above the trees. The building doesn't seem to be open yet. Looks like there's a tree on display and some more just informational signs. Let's get back in the car and continue the drive. Now, there are no guardrails on this road, so if that kind of thing makes you nervous, you probably shouldn't drive this road. Maybe hiking would be a better option for you. So this here is Summit Lake, gorgeous lake. It's at 12,800-ish feet. The top of Mount Evans is over here somewhere. The road does keep going to the top, but the road is closed beyond this point for now, which is a big bummer. I'm pretty disappointed in that. It closed a couple weeks ago. I'll talk more about my plans in a minute here, but we do have several of these guys. We've got several bighorn sheep hanging around the parking lot. So this area up here with the toilets and the parking lot and the bighorn sheep, and I think including the lake, this is all actually a Denver city park. It is the highest city park in America. So we have a bit of a problem, as I said. The road is closed beyond this point. I had intended to drive to the top. I didn't know until this morning when I was doing research that the road was closed. It's a bummer, but I'm going to make it up to you later in this video, so stay tuned for that. For now, I think I am going to just hike up to the top of this thing. Now, there are a couple of options. See this ridge behind me? I was talking with a guy who, I think he was like a maintenance guy who was working on the buildings over here. He said that there is a trail that goes up just on the far side of that ridge. That is the fastest way to the top from here on foot. If I were to stay on the road and just follow the road up to the top, or if I had a bike or something like that to bike up there, it's 5.5 miles each way. So instead of hiking 11 miles round trip, I'm gonna do the shortcut up that ridge, up alongside that ridge, which the guy said is like 3.2 or 3.3 miles round trip. So shorter, steeper, hopefully it'll take less time. This is a closer look at the lake. Gorgeous lake. Apparently there are fish in here. There's a sign saying that anglers should stay off of the tundra, stick to the rocks, so they don't damage the fragile grass ecosystem up here. There's another trail that starts here and goes somewhere around here and goes up and over and follows this up to the top, and it's a proper trail, an established trail. This one that I'm going to be doing is just kind of a boot trail, a use trail. On the right side of Summit Lake here is a trail that leads to an overlook of a few more lakes, I think. Let's go check that out. And here's the view of the lakes from the little overlook. It just takes 5 minutes to walk here. These are called the Chicago Lakes. Then looking back behind me, there's Mount Evans, looking pretty epic. And then Summit Lake. Let me go get my gear ready and then we'll hit the trail. Here's the gate that has the road blocked off. Around it we go. Gonna keep my eyes peeled as I pass behind the ridge here for the trail that the guy was talking about. Okay, 10 minutes up the road now, still looking for an obvious trail. There is this, but this looks like a little natural water drainage, not necessarily a trail. I haven't found any kind of trail yet, but I have found this pudgy marmot perched on a boulder. So that's something. But I think I am just gonna go straight up this ridge. I don't know if that little dry drainage thing, if that was where I was supposed to go, but I think this will work just as well. So I was just kind of trudging along with my head down, and then I look up and I see this, some sort of observatory. I must be getting pretty close to the top. And I just caught my first glimpse of the summit area. Not sure which of these points is the top, or maybe it's something behind them, not sure. This is where you would normally park if you could drive up to the top. Whew. Almost there. Well, friends, I think we've done it. This is the top. And the top of this rock is the summit. Amazingly, I have it all to myself, which would certainly not be the case, I'm sure, if the road were open. Beautiful views. Very quiet. The mountains are completely dry except for very occasional patches of snow over here. And then here's the lake. Here's where I parked. That's the parking lot. It's a long way down. Well, that wasn't exactly an easy hike, but it didn't take that long. An hour and 26 minutes, 1,400 feet of elevation gain, 1.83 miles. It feels odd to be hiking for only an hour and a half and to get to the top of a 14,000 foot peak. It just doesn't quite seem right. I just spent a few minutes up there, drank some water, and now I'm headed back down. I'm going to show you my plan of attack for the descent here. So I came up from over here and then went past these buildings to the parking lot. I'm going to descend down from the parking lot this way, which is a little bit more direct than the way I came up. And so it is that I didn't drive all of the highest paved road in America, but I did drive the highest road in America. I'm a little bit disappointed there. Still made it to the top of the mountain though, and by slightly more fair means than otherwise. But I have a backup. I wasn't sure I was gonna do this other drive, but now I am sure that I am going to. So here's the plan. I'm gonna hike back down to the car, and then I'm gonna spend the rest of the day fishing. I'm gonna drive an hour or so to a place where I wanna fish, and then I'm gonna fish, and then I'm gonna drive a couple more hours Gonna find a campsite somewhere. Not entirely sure where, I'll figure that out later. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to do another road. I'm gonna drive another road. And I'll give you a little bit of a hint, of a sneak peek. This is not the only 14,000 foot peak in Colorado that has a road going to its summit. And on that cliffhanger, I'm gonna stop filming until I get to a campsite tonight. I like showing you guys my campsites. And then I'll start filming again in the morning, still in this same video. It'll be a continuation of this video. I'll start filming again when I start the drive up that second mountain. And several hours later, here is my campsite. There are a lot of people camped here, and I'm not entirely sure why. I picked this spot just at random on Google Maps. I knew that it was National Forest land, and I saw that a Forest Service road went through that, so I thought, okay, yeah, I'm sure there are campsites there. And sure enough, there are lots of them, and you can only stay in numbered campsites. Let me show you the sign here. So I'm at campsite number 17. One thing that I've definitely noticed about Colorado, just in general, is how many more people there are here. On the roads, on the trails, in the canyons. When you have mountains like this so close to millions of people along the Front Range, you know, Denver and the cities and towns that extend north and south from there, you're going to have a lot more competition for places. And then really quickly, before I get in for the night, the hike down from the top of Mount Evans went great. I found the trail that I should have gone up. Turns out it was what looked like a water channel coming down. That was the trail. I was on the trail the entire way. It was super smooth. It took me an hour to get down. And then I went fishing, and that was great. Caught a lot of fish. Then I drove this way, and I'm kind of within striking distance, maybe an hour away from where I want to be tomorrow. So I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. It's 6:45. I'm in the city of Woodland Park, and I wanted to stop here because there's a good view of our destination. This is Pikes Peak. This is the mountain I was referring to. This is 14,110 feet tall, and there's a road going all the way to the top. It's a 19 or 20 mile long dirt road. Costs $15 to drive it. And importantly, I don't think there are any road closures. I think the road is open all the way to the top. Guess we'll see once we get up there, but as far as I know, I think we're good to go. We're clear. We can drive all the way to the top of the mountain. And here we are about 15 minutes later at the entrance station. It's not quite open yet. It'll open in a few minutes. There are about a dozen cars here in front of me and around me. I'm excited. Okay, so we had a little bit of an issue. The GoPro stopped recording basically before I got out of the entrance gate, and I've driven 7 miles up the road so far, so lost a good amount of footage. I'm gonna try to have the GoPro record from the inside here, where it's warmer and the batteries will last a little bit longer. Maybe that'll help, maybe not, but we'll try to give you a glimpse of what this road is like. Well, it's never easy, is it? I'm about 3 or 4 miles from the top, and they're holding up traffic because they're doing some road construction up there. They're holding traffic for about 20 minutes, so I'm going to get out and wander around a little bit, show you the views, take some pictures. I have to say, that's a good-looking car, isn't it? For being 20 years old. Looks like there's a little path to a viewpoint out here, and maybe to the top of this little shoulder, so let's go. Let's go do that. All right, so I'm on top of the little knoll. Here's the summit of Pikes Peak, a few miles up the road. Here's where we all parked. Here are the really tight switchbacks. I was going, I think, about 8 miles an hour around those corners. And just to complete the tour, got some nice hills and smaller mountains. It's a little bit hazy today. Visibility isn't amazing. Still beautiful though. Still a really, really great spot. Elevation here is about 13,000 feet, so we have another about 1,100 vertical feet to go to reach the top. The top is, again, 14,110, I think. And by the way, you didn't miss a ton on the first section of the drive when the GoPro wasn't working. It was mostly just forest, and there were some views of the mountain. In fact, I'll stop on the way down and show you a really good view of the peak. But other than that, you didn't miss much. Well, no disrespect to Pikes Peak, but this is, without a doubt, the ugliest mountaintop I have ever been to. It is a construction site up here. There are 4 or 5 excavators and all sorts of other heavy machinery up here. It is not, it's not nice up here. It's really not. But I'm walking over to what seems like the actual top of the mountain. There's a sign with the name of Pikes Peak and the elevation on it. Let's go take a look at that. Here we are, Pikes Peak summit, elevation 14,115 feet, 4,302.31 meters, very specific. And again, just look at this. This is gross. I think they're building a new visitor center up here, which I'm sure will be very nice once it's done, but for now, yeesh. This is rough. Let's take a look at the view here. I think it'll be pretty similar to the view from the little rocky outcropping, but we'll make the rounds anyway. As far as comparing the two roads, this road versus the Mount Evans road, the Mount Evans road is, I think, by a large margin better. I think it's more scenic. The drive up here is great. I enjoyed it. It's worth doing. I would do it again. But Mount Evans, it's just a better drive, and the fact that there's not construction on top made it a lot better. And I liked that you couldn't drive all the way to the top of Mount Evans. Like, even if the road was fully open and you were able to drive all the way to the uppermost parking lot, you'd still have to walk a little ways to the top. That keeps a little bit of the natural feeling. Here, I mean, this will basically all be paved up here at the top. So, it just depends on what you're looking for. And as long as you have the expectation of not having a solitary wilderness experience, both are definitely worth doing. There's a nice little elevated walkway up here. From this little viewpoint, you have a better view of the mountain itself below your feet here. Craggy and broken, shattered rock. It's an impressive mountain, Pikes Peak. You can see it for, miles and miles away, especially from the east, from the plains, of course. No drone zone. So in addition to this being, I believe, the second highest paved road in America, it is the site of the highest railroad in North America. This is a little cog railroad. Let's go take a look at the track section a little bit. The train kind of ratchets its way up this cog track. I think this was out of commission for a while, for a few years, but I believe it's back in operation. So if you're so inclined, you can take the railroad up to the top here. I think that'd be fun. That'd be a fun experience. Unique experience. Here's the original summit house, the original summit structure on top of the mountain here, constructed in 1873. Contrast that with this beauty over here. And the sign over here said that the railway is a cog railway because these can climb steeper grades, higher grades, steeper slopes than traditional trains. The original cog railroad opened in 1891, a long time ago. This obviously is a new and improved and updated version, and there was a rough road that was built around the same time, but construction on the improved highway started in 1915. The visitor center up here looks like it's still under construction, not quite finished yet. So I think that brings our time up here at the top to an end. One thing I wanted to see when driving these two roads was how my 20-year-old car, my 2001 GMC Yukon, would handle the roads. And it's great. I didn't notice any kind of performance difference. It felt just like driving it up any mountain road. And so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So that's it. I think that'll do it for this video. I'm gonna stop this video here and then go do some other things and start filming again later in the day. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed getting a look at these two highest paved roads in America. It really is amazing that there are roads up these things. On the way down, I will stop at that one viewpoint that I referenced earlier and show you the view from there. But otherwise, this is the end of the video. Thanks again for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.